That answer.
Smacked it out of the park. That's big time. Here's what we can tell you. He's getting momentum. He's got it on his side going into the debate anyway, because the public policy polling found numbers like these. Again, before the debate, these numbers came in. 35% of likely Republican voters in South Carolina are backing Newt Gingrich. 29% are backing Mitt Romney. 15% come in both equally for Ron Paul and Rick Santorum.
All right, so we want to bring in our political panel. Shira Toeplitz, the politics writer for Roll Call, Eric Erickson, editor-in-chief of RedState.com, and Maria Cardona, former senior advisor to Hillary Clinton. Let's dive right in here. We got a lot to talk about. Eric, I'm going to start with you. That Gingrich explosion, it was really powerful stuff. We've just rewatched it. And you saw what our senior political analyst, David Gergen, said about the debate, that this could actually win him South Carolina. Do you think it will?
Yeah, you know, we've got some bananas and oranges and apples over there on the table. I think that's the fruit platter Newt Gingrich sent over this morning to thank us for helping him win South Carolina. Absolutely. That question, he did knock it out of the park. We knew it was coming. He had to answer it. It was very interesting. After the debate, he went over to John King and thanked him for a great debate. Of course he did. We just set him up nicely for tomorrow. And, you know, the question had to be asked. I'm glad John asked it first, because it would have otherwise overshadowed everything else in the debate. And it is this morning to a degree. So, yeah, this question won Newt Gingrich the South Carolina primary.
So he was taking a lot of criticism, John King, that is, for asking that question first. Do you think that was a good idea? Get it off the plate.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone was waiting for the question. Everyone knew it was coming. You might as well get it out of the way up front instead of being... If he didn't ask it up front, CNN would be accused of dragging out the viewers until the very end in soap opera fashion. It needed to be asked. Asked up front was the right place to ask it.
All right, Shira, let's go back to that poll. The new public policy poll that was released yesterday. Gingrich is ahead in that by 6 points. That does not reflect the debate performance. He already had the momentum. Do you agree that Gingrich is going to take South Carolina?
Well, I think he could, absolutely. There's no question about that. And this is a tracking poll, so we will get new numbers again in 24 hours that will reflect his debate performance. I'm going to be particularly looking at the female voters of South Carolina when these poll results come out and you look at the crosstabs. I'll be interested to see whether or not they have a visceral reaction to Marianne Gingrich's statement, whether or not they view her as kind of a bitter ex-wife, or whether they view these accusations as relevant. But after last night's debate performance, I think men, women, in South Carolina in general are trending towards Newt's side.
Well, but what do you make of that comment, that open marriage comment? How do you think that's going to translate, particularly to that woman voter in South Carolina?
I think some women will look at Marianne Gingrich sitting there, obviously still very emotional about this, and maybe even relate a little bit, kind of understand, feel sorry for her. And if they had any kind of inkling of distrust of Newt Gingrich in their head already, I think it will only grow because of this. So I think if they were already trending against Newt Gingrich, thinking about not voting for him, it probably just pushed them over the edge in that direction. I think people who like Newt Gingrich, man, that first comment last night just made them love him even more.
All right, Maria, let's switch gears here. A moment that Democrats must have loved last night. John King asked Romney if he would follow in his father's example and release 12 years of his tax returns. Let's listen to what he said, and then we'll talk about it.
When you release yours, will you follow your father's example?
Maybe. I don't know how many years I'll release. I'll take a look at what what our documents are. And I'll release multiple years. I don't know how many years, but I'll be happy to do that.
I think it was the Washington Post, Maria, that called that a flub on Romney's behalf. The tax issue has been dragging him down. Can he recover from that?
Well, I think if he would come out today, or at least very soon, to say that he's going to release not just this year's tax returns, but multiple years before, he might be able to. But the Washington Post is right, and I think that this has been one of the weakest issues for him. And last night's debate performance on this particular question was awful. And he has not been able to come up with a good answer on this. and it is something that is going to continue to come up. And the thing is that it's not enough for him, and frankly, his father was the one who set the high bar. It's not enough for him to just release this year's returns. Why? Because clearly he knows that he was running for president. He could accommodate those returns to make sure that they don't reflect anything that's untoward. He needs to release multiple past years to ensure to voters that there is nothing there to hide. The more that he hesitates on doing that, the more that it cements in voters' minds that there is something in Romney's investments, something within his billionaire status or almost billionaire status, that there is something to hide there, and that is not good for Romney. The more he stretches it out, the worse it's going to be for him.
All right, Maria, Shira, Eric, thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to talk to you again, so stand by.
Thank you.
Somebody did